Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Bible Study Minute. Today we're taking a look at 2 Kings chapters 19 through 21. And in these chapters, we get a look at King Hezekiah's life. Now, we took a look at him first in chapter 18 yesterday when we saw the Assyrians coming against him and they were blaspheming God and basically saying that your God has told us that we're going to come and take over your land and so on and so forth. And Hezekiah tells the people to not give them any kind of response. So they get the response, and we see Hezekiah's faith in play here in the following chapters that we take a look at today. So the first thing he does is he gets wise counsel from the Lord and just people who are close to the Lord. So he seeks out the prophet Isaiah, and Isaiah gives him a response saying that Assyria is not going to overtake Judah, and you can rest easy. And then, of course, they get another word from the Assyrians. But this time, what Hezekiah does is he takes this, goes to the temple, and lays it out before the Lord. He actually literally takes his cares before the Lord and prays to God on how to deal with the situation. And then, of course, he receives a word from Isaiah on what the Lord is going to do. And the Lord says that the Assyrians are not going to set foot in Jerusalem or besiege the city whatsoever. So we see this happening and it taking place. And then later on in Hezekiah's life, we see that he's got a sickness. And this sickness is going to lead to death, which he gets from the prophet Isaiah. And then we see Hezekiah crying out to the Lord and just burying his heart before him. And before Isaiah is even able to leave, he's given a word from the Lord, and God adds 15 years to Hezekiah's life. But these last 15 years of Hezekiah's life don't go quite as well as the earlier portions of his life, because we see someone who first allows foreigners to see all the treasures of Judah, and then we see with his son Manasseh later on in chapter 21 in what he does, that because Manasseh was only 12 years old when he became king, which means that he was born during these last 15 years of Hezekiah's life. And going first back to showing his treasures, we see that Isaiah tells him that because of this, that all their treasures and people are going to be taken down to Babylon. And Hezekiah is like, well, it's not going to happen in my lifetime, so I'm cool. I'm cool that my sons and grandsons are going to be taken slaves in Babylon. As long as it's not going to happen to me, I'm cool. And we can kind of see this taking place and playing out in how he raises his son, because his son is someone who does not follow the Lord. His son really is like the worst of the kings of Judah when it comes to idolatry and rebelling against the Lord. And we see this to where basically the Lord says that he's going to pretty much be done with Judah as a result of Manasseh's sin. So what we see here is great faith in Hezekiah, as well as someone whose latter years did not end as well or as strongly as his earlier years, because we especially see that he did not lead his son in the faith or really even have cares for or concern for what would happen to his children or grandchildren after his death. So what's our takeaway from this? First and foremost, it's that we need to have the same kind of faith and resolve that Hezekiah did when he was facing the Assyrians, that we need to be people who literally take our cares to the Lord, like 1 Peter chapter 5 tells us, to take all of our cares before the Lord because he cares for us. And then secondly, that we need to be better than Hezekiah. We need to actually love our children, be concerned about what's going to happen to them, raise them up in the faith, teach them the ways of the Lord so that they don't go the complete opposite because of how we lived an example that was not as great as it could have been. So that's what I want to leave you with today. And until next time, grace and peace.